Hi everyone, welcome to, I can't believe it's week 5, Kat.
I know, the time's flown by and I was really looking forward for ages to doing this, and now we're in week 5.
Oh, I know, we'll have to do some more. Anyway, we'll talk about that later, about what we're doing in the summer. If you'd just like to say hi in the chat, it'd be great to hear from you. Look at it, here we go, from Spain again.
Brilliant.
All right, it's lovely to see lots of, wow, yes, it's very, very, Loretta, very, very hot. Okay, without further ado, we'll get on. I've got we're going to talk a little bit about how to apply Meridian Yoga to Kyojitsu today. We're going to do that in a minute. But let's just see what we've got in store for you. We've got the poles as usual, and then we've got the energy exercise. We're going to do a energy exercise in wood, but for the wood element. And then we're going to link that with the pathology of the liver and gall bladder in Chinese medicine. So it'd be interesting to see which pathology we kind of shows up when we do it. And then we're going to look at some of our favorite points. And then Kat's come up with a kind of routine which helps open the points and open the channels and everything. Okay, so that's what we've got in store. And let's go straight in with the energy exercise. So what I'm actually going to do today, I'll show you it. I'm sorry, I've got to dry throat.
I was going to say, you're right there, Cliff.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I tell you what, I'll come up to standing and then
Yeah, that's it.
do the.
And I'll just go through the exercise. We're going to walk along an imaginary road. We're going to come to a junction, and then I'm going to describe turning left and right. Left is where you really don't want to go. Right is where you do want to go. We're going to tune into our key, find out what happens, and then we're going to draw it. And I've got my paper ready. So I'm going to just spotlight just Kat and myself. I'm going to do it in the sitting position. I'm going to imagine I'm walking along, and Kat's going to actually walk on the spot. And you can join in whichever way you like. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just walk on the spot, and we're just going to imagine we're walking along, and we're going to get that liver, that wood energy, that liver and gallbladder energy really flowing nicely. We're going to get the joints nicely loosened up, you know, really relax. You can feel our alignment, floating ourselves along. Everything feels really happy and really easy. Okay. So now we're going to stop because we've got to a junction. And down the left road is somewhere we really don't want to go to. And down the right road is somewhere that we really do want to go to. You can think of a person, a place, a situation, or whatever. Doesn't matter. But what we're going to do is we're going to see what happens. The decision making, of course, is part of the liver energy. And we're going to see what happens when we try and make that decision to our energy. So I'm going to actually close my eyes for a second. And you might want to do the same. You're at the junction. Down the left road is somewhere you really don't want to go to. Down the right road is somewhere you really would like to go to. So let's force ourselves to turn to the left. And I'm going to force myself to turn to the left. Look down that road in your imagination, even if you've got your eyes closed, just in your imagination. Okay. And then we're going to walk on the spot, and we're going to just pretend we're forcing ourselves down that road we don't want to go to. And as we do that, we're going to tune into our energy and just see what happens to our energy when we do that. Okay. So tuning in, seeing what happens. Had enough? I have. So now we're going to turn to the other side, to the right hand side, and we're going to walk down the road that we really want to go to. Okay, so just see how your energy changes as you do that. We're going to walk down that road. Okay, excellent. Okay, then we're going to come back to the center, and we're going to just relax and imagine the left and the right energy states that we created in our body, the energy movement. And what I'd like you to do now is get your piece of paper and just do a quick drawing of how you felt when you went down the left road and how you felt when you went down the right road. Okay, just see if you can see what kind of things. Let's kind of see what kind of things do you experience. And you can write a few things on if anything happened to you. Okay, got the idea? So
I'm glad we always do the right one afterwards.
I know, exactly. You want to clear the energy, don't you, and get all fluid again. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to put the slides back up again now. And so that's what we've done, this exercise. And what I want you to do now is have a look at this list. This is all based on the liver pathology and TCM. And just see which of these five patterns is the closest to what you felt when you went down that left road. Did you feel generally blocked and stiff, maybe around the middle of the body? Did you feel strong heat rising up to your head? Maybe you felt a bit ungrounded. You might have just felt a bit weak and tired and with a bit of heat coming up, or you might have felt nauseous. And all of those five, feeling kind of sick to your stomach, but all those five things are related to different liver pathologies, as we're going to find out in a moment. So let's just run that poll. What did you feel when you forced yourself down the left road? So let's see just put the closest one that you felt, and we'll see what happens.
Wow.
Okay, look at that. Just give everyone a moment. Okay, look, the first one's by far the most popular with 60%. And you can probably guess what that one is. That's one of the most common liver key patterns. And look at that. We've got neck and neck between the next two, and then one person. And no one, you didn't have that, did you? That last one by any chance?
Well, a little, yes.
You did. You see, unfortunately, presenters can't vote. Otherwise, there'd be one vote for that.
Well, I had a bit of both, bit blocked, stiff, kind of, especially the jaw, and a little bit sicky feeling. Right, there we are.
I thought you might, yeah.
So
anyway, later on we can work on that. Okay, so now, we are going to reveal. All will be revealed. Okay, if you don't know your liver pathologies, you're going to know it in the next few minutes. Okay, so look, here we go. Feeling blocked, stiff, and kind of depressed. That's liver key stagnation. If you get a strong heat going up into the head, that's another really common liver pattern, and that's liver yang rising. If you felt dizzy, also kind of a bit stiff, but kind of dizzy and ungrounded, the chances are you've got liver blood deficiency. Not enough blood lubricating the tendons, not enough blood getting up into the head gives you that dizzy feeling. Liver yin, we had one of those. That's when you get a tired feeling and you get more of an empty heat. You get maybe dryness, everything feels a bit dry, and you get a bit of a flushing. And that's yin deficiency, liver yin deficiency. And then finally, another quite a common one actually is nausea, where you get the liver invades the spleen. And there's a point for that, which we're going to do later on. So that's how all of those things relate to the liver pathology. So then we had our weekly exciting moment on our meeting. Name your 4 favorite wood element points. And these are the ones we came up with. Liver 3 came up as the first one, and you can see why, because it's used to treat not only liver stagnation, but also yang rising and liver yin deficiency. So it's an all-purpose point. It moves the ki, subdues the yang. So if you've got heat coming into your body, you want to subdue that, and it tonifies the liver yin as well. So it kind of makes you chilled out and cool as well. So that's a great point. We'll get on to where that is if you don't know in a minute. Liver 13, this is especially for you, Kat.
Yeah, I need this one.
Yeah, liver invades the spleen, and that's the one that's by the floating river. I'll show you in a minute where that is. And that harmonizes the liver and spleen. That's another common pathology, actually. And then we've got just gallbladder 30. We love that point so much. That's the one right in the hip. Even though it's just mainly for channel obstruction, we had to have that one, especially because it's so often involved in things like sciatica and problems with the hips. And gallbladder 20 is also a liver yang rising point. It basically helps release any heat that comes up into the body. It clears heat and yang from the head. So they were our favorite points. And just to quickly remind you where they are, liver 3 is between the first and the second metatarsal right there. Spreads the liver key, nourishes the liver, blood in the yin. And of course, we use it for headaches and all the emotional things related to liver too. Liver 13, if you don't know where that is, just feel around your ribs until you can feel the floating rib. And it's right there, right by the end of the floating rib. It's quite easy to find, actually. Nourishes the liver key and the blood and the yin, and harmonizes the spleen. So it's a really useful point. And we've got and Kat's come up with some absolutely terrific yoga positions for that. I'm really excited about that. Gallbladder 20's got to be there. That's the wind pool point. That's the one at the back of the skull, right in that big indentation there. Really good for all the points in the head and the eyes. And also it's something that we thought we'd choose because some of the yoga stretches are really good for releasing the neck. Yes. And of course, the famous gallbladder 30, meeting point of the gallbladder and bladder channels, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It's used for obviously hip pain, sciatica, and problems in the whole sort of buttock area there. Okay, so I sent out an email, I think yesterday, promising you that I would just give a little bit of a talk about a little moment here about how to apply Meridian Yoga, because it's something that I've done a lot. I know a lot more about it now, Kat, than I did 4 weeks ago, but it is something that I use a lot as recommendations. I just want to tell you a story about one of my clients who had really very bad sciatica, and she was a classic gallbladder and liver jitsu and bladder and kidney kyo. And the way I did it, and I'll just take this off now and just describe what I did. Basically, what I did was, because her bladder and kidney meridians were so weak, I actually didn't give her a stretch. I just held underneath her back, got her to breathe into the lower abdomen, and then I placed my hand behind her knee on bladder 40, and I basically trained her to direct build the chi up and direct it down the channel, and then I extended it down to bladder 60. And once I taught her that, I got her to do that every day, and that was to address the kyo. And it was great because even after the session and after having taught her how to do this, she could actually feel the energy building on the back of her legs. So it was really encouraging for her. And to balance that out, because she had so much liver stagnation and gallbladder stiffness, I gave her a simple stretch, which is just lifting the knees up and just bending them to the sides to open up the channel. Although I'm going to have much more ideas later on. And that's how I did it. And she practiced it. And that's the kind of method I use. So basically, if it's a jitsu, I'll give more kind of strenuous stretches. And if it's more kyo, sometimes I won't even go as far as a stretch, or if the stretch, do give a stretch, very, very gentle, and just work on the internal chi, more like a qigong thing. Yeah. So I don't know about you, Kat, have you got anything, to share about that? What do you do when you're recommending Meridian Yoga?
Yeah, kind of the same. So particularly if I have a client, whether it's jitsu or kyo, and find out what kind of range of movement they have and what's going on for them. I guess maybe I could demonstrate. I'm maybe better at moving than.
Yeah.
I guess probably for like a wood element kind of feeling. Say if someone's got gallbladder kyo, like Cliff said, I don't think I would really give them a strong side twist in the body to sedate anything, because it doesn't need sedating. I'd probably use some movement to restore and help that channel to gain some energy and balance it out again. So I guess with gallbladder, we're actually going to show this one in a little while in the sequence as well. So I'm kind of lying on the side, and it's a variation on what Cliff said, to treat some liver stagnation. So that's something to sedate. This one is kyo to nourish the meridian a bit more. So instead of the knees falling from side to side, I probably put the hands, palms together, and then using the breath, as I breathe in, I'm allowing this top arm to gently kind of roll over to one side, and maybe only going as far as looking up to the ceiling, but making sure that the arm is taking the chest, ribs, and then maybe the head and the arm opening out the other side. So there's a gentle twist going on, but even something up to the opposite elbow is probably enough. And it's just gently massaging this part of the body where our gallbladder and liver channel is in the torso, and also the gallbladder in the hip, our lovely gallbladder 30. Not forgetting the one in the head, gallbladder 20. So it's allowing the head to roll on the floor, so we're not holding any tension in the head and neck. So I'd probably do something like that for Kyo, and then something that's Jitsu, kind of something similar like Cliff did. So again, using the side twist with the knees, I find it gets more in there than using the arms, like I've just shown. Also, this lovely stretch that you can do where you bring one leg up and then draw the other one in. That's a really good stretch on the gallbladder. And if you want to take it even further and get in there on a liver kind of feeling up into the ribs and the head, you can keep this here and take the legs over to one side and allow that to open, keep the head facing the opposite way, and that's like a really strong, powerful liver stagnation kind of stretch there. So yeah, that's kind of the thing that I do, but definitely for something that's Kyo, I'd use the breath a lot, sending energy, chi into that channel to help nourish it.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same as what I was doing. Yeah, good. Well, there we are. That's good, isn't it? There's a consistency there.
Yeah, there's some consistency.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's great.
Okay, brilliant. I'm just going to run the slides just to see if there's anything else I've forgotten, but I think we must be getting towards the... Oh, yeah, that's right. I just wanted to show you this slide. This is basically how I do it, and exactly how Kat's just described it. Basically, analyze the type of pain and the movement, check the HARA diagnosis, and then tonify the Kyo with internal breathing or gentle stretches, and sedate the Jitsu with more stretches and releasing breathing, breathing and breathing out and releasing on the breathing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. And that's sort of quite an exciting thing to be able to do. I tend to keep it quite simple, Kat. I tend to give people maybe just 2 or 3 different positions.
Yes, exactly. Because sometimes, particularly after a treatment or a few, I think you mentioned it earlier that probably it's a lot to process, and someone might just remember one thing to take home with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also the other thing, I don't like to give them I don't like them going straight into exercises after treatment, especially if it's a very powerful treatment. They haven't had treatment before, because sometimes it'll take a week for the treatment to bed in anyway. So quite often I'll give them the exercises on the second session, and because then you can see what's happened with the treatment, and then you can add it's more like a controlled experiment then, and then you can add the exercises to the Shiatsu treatment. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
And the other top tip, I think, is always teach them it. Don't just give them a handout.
Oh, hugely. And like you said, like not on the first treatment, but say they've been a couple of times and the energy in the room feels all right for them to try it.
Yeah.
Now and again, I check in when having a chat with Clean Language before the actual physical treatment. And if something's still like resonating from the last one, I go, I want to show you something, and I'll demonstrate and get them to do it with me before the treatment. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. That's good. Yeah. And also, I don't know if you've had this experience, but I've had this experience where you'll teach them something and then they'll practice it for say 2 weeks or something, and they'll come back and it will be completely unrecognizable from what you actually do. I can remember one client, I taught them this like yoga, this Qigong yoga thing, which is all very relaxed like this sort of thing. And then 2 weeks later, she comes back and she's going,
oh, bless, yeah.
So I always get them to show me it. after 2 weeks or a week or whatever, I always say, could you just show me how you're getting on with that exercise? And it's quite extraordinary what people will be, it's almost like Chinese whispers. It changes, as they do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why you go to Qigong class, or you check in on the Wednesday class, or, coming regularly. I mean, even for us, like I like to check in with other people to make sure my practice and what I'm doing is still good. I can go off and do all sorts of weird and wonderful things. I'm like, hang on a minute. Bring yourself
Okay, great. So I hope that's helpful for everyone. I'm sure you're probably doing similar things yourself, but that's just how Kat and I apply the Meridian Yoga. So now, can't wait. I've been looking forward to this all week, and I really look forward. I can't believe it's the last one.
I know.
I have to arrange some more. I've got my yoga mat this week cleverly pointing at the screen because I was twisting around too much last time. So I've got it all pointing at the screen. And it's over to you, Kat.
Thank you. Well, the good thing, like Cliff said, if you're struggling to watch at the same time, I know I'm trying to make it a good pace so we don't cram too many things in, but at the same time, please go back and watch it. And the joy of videos is you can pause me and rewind and check in what we were up to in the session. So yes, like on the slides, Cliff's shown the 4 points that we're going to be working with today on the wood element, and they're amazing. I think some of them are my favourite. Cliff's right, this liver 13 definitely need that. But before we get into pressing the points and feeling the energetics, I wanted to just read a quote so we can get kind of the bit more of the flavour of the element from Carola's book. I'm sure a lot of you know this one. Some have different colours, pages. But this one's the wood element, the liver and gall bladder. And she uses a lovely quote by Dylan Thomas called Fern Hill, I think from his poem Fern Hill. And he writes, "The force that through the green fuse drives the flower." I love that. It's almost like a sweet haiku. So as well as this gorgeous poetry, I wanted to read what the element associations are in Zen Shiatsu. So for liver and gallbladders, energy, cooperation, adaptability, organization, and self-expression kind of makes sense. So we want to be flexible and strong like a bamboo, but sometimes being flexible all the time, maybe the bamboo's had enough of bending to the wind, or poor bamboo might have got a little bit too stuck and rigid. So it's being able to do all these things has a lovely effect on the balance of our wood energy. So let's get on to finding our points. So I'm going to sit back a little bit so you can see. So how about we start on the feet? So the liver 3, and we want to get the foot, hopefully you can see it like this. So between the big toe metatarsal and the second toe, there's like a V shape. And you want to get in there on the big toe side of the metatarsal, and you can use your fingers or thumb. So pressing like this, allow the foot on the ground, pressing in. And there's a little dip that you can feel. And I think Dinah mentioned it in the chat a little while ago. And Cliff did as well, that this point is amazing. It helps to sedate, it helps to tonify any liver blood, cools the liver system as well. So lots and lots of things this point is really good for. I've also used it a lot for migraines, sticking a magnet on or pressing it in a treatment, or for myself as well. Very good for that kind of feeling up in the head. So let's not forget the other foot. So I'm going to just press my other one as well, finding that nice V shape in the metatarsal, and slightly to the big toe there's this nice dip that you can get into. And we can send breath and chi into that point. So whichever syndromes you got doing the which way to turn, left and right down the road, hopefully this point can help with whichever came up for you. So from here, I'm going to come up to standing for the gallbladder 30, and I'll turn around so you can see, but into the glute. So there's this lovely point on the side of the bum, and it's the jumping circle, if I remember correctly. And this one's so great. I like to do both at the same time, or you can concentrate on one and then the other. And whether it needs some love, if it's a bit kyo, maybe just some gentle pressing in here. And if it feels a bit like it needs sedating because it's quite jitsu, if you use some loose fists. So I'm going to do this one actually. I definitely need this on my gallbladder. So using loose fists into the glutes. Woo. Actually, as I do this, I can feel the whole side of my body dropping down into the ground. I think on that experiment, turning left and right, I definitely got clenched jaw and blocked. So this one's great for releasing anything there. Super. So releasing that. And then we're going to come to our liver 13. So I've got my diaphragm and lower ribs here. I'm going to come out to the floating ribs and gently pressing in. Hopefully it feels all right for you. You might want to do the opposite one. If that's a bit tricky on your shoulder, you can press it with the opposite arm, the opposite hand. And I'm using mainly middle finger, connecting the liver channel. That's a bit more advanced, where the liver channel is in the arms. That's a Masanaga extension. I usually find this one makes me feel a little bit sick, that nauseous feeling, and that's why Cliff's saying this one's really good for me. So taking it easy. If it makes you feel sick, obviously don't press it really hard. You want to be gentle. And the same thing, we can send breath in, chi in through the hands, through that point. Actually, it's starting to feel really good. Less sicky. Great, and then coming up to the last point for the wood channel into gallbladder 20, I find it where your occipital bone is, and there's a bit of a kind of same thing again, kind of like a hollow in the back. It's nice on a client because you can use your fingers as their head rests in your hand and project some ki and chi up that way. But you could use your thumbs, or I tend to use my fingers, and sometimes it's really nice to just kind of rest a little bit of weight from your head, obviously not collapsing in the throat. We want to make sure it's all nice and open at the front, gently pressing into this point here. Also really good for any headaches as well, I find. Lovely, and then bringing the head back. You can also use palm, so pressing, squeezing either side of the occipital bone here. Brilliant. So I hope you've got the quality and feeling of these points, whether that's to sedate or to tonify these meridians that we're going to work with. So just like a seed or a plant, and the wood element's all about growing upwards like a spring plant or like a tree. Let's start in the ground. So come into a nice comfy place. I'm going to come to lying on my back in supine rest. So really allowing the feet to spread into the ground. So that lovely liver 3 that we've just connected to, it's allowing space in that point to spread out, ready to root down into the ground. And here we've got the ribs nice and open and the head's resting on the ground as well, making sure that the head and neck aren't tense. If you need a cushion underneath, if it's a bit much lying flat on the floor, please do so. And what we're going to do is we're just going to send the knees from one side to the other, but really not letting them go into the floor, so not going too far at all. And we're just going to gently take them on a rock. So as well as gently opening up the liver and gallbladder in the side of the body, it's also helping to massage out the lower back and sacrum, and it will gently get into gallbladder 30. So this particular knee rock, where the knees are gently moving from side to side, so my feet are still connected to the ground, they are moving from side to side, edges of the feet. And you can make it even smaller if you need to, much more subtle. So this kind of thing I would definitely say is great for anyone who needs some treatment for Kyo in the wood element, in their wood channels. So using the breath. So we can breathe in as the knees are at the center and breathing out. Breathing in as they come to the center, breathing out as they just gently roll to one side. And because our feet are nicely grounded in the floor, we're not holding any tension in the hip flexors. So the weight's really in that side of the pelvis going down into the ground. So these ribs here can gently open, being really gentle with our bodies, not an extreme side twist at all. And if that feels okay and you're happy with that, we can start to add the head in. So I'm going to let the knees float to one side and the head to roll the opposite way. So my knees to the right and my head to the left. I'm keeping the head on the floor just like the feet. And we can let our gaze follow as well. So that gorgeous gallbladder 20 is getting some space, some opening in the back of the head. All the points here are gently, gently getting worked. This one I find very comforting movement. And then bringing the knees and the head back to the center and just allowing the weight to drop into the ground a bit more. Just like Van der Scaravelli's approach, you go down to come up. So this little seed of a plant that we are, soon with this lovely letting go into gravity, we'll be able to stand up later with much more ease. So from here, if we roll onto one side, really doesn't matter which side you roll to. And if you need a cushion under your head, if it's a bit much on the neck and shoulder, please use a cushion or a bolster. And I've got my knees bent here and feet together, knees together, and my underneath arm is out to the side, and I've placed my other palm on the top, so kind of like prayer position, but the arms are extended. Similar thing to what I demonstrated earlier, what to do with a Kyo in the meridian. And we're just going to gently slide the top arm. So this arm is allowing the ribs and the spine to join in. So I'm not just using the arm like this. I'm allowing this initiation from the hand to pour some breath and weight through the rest of the body, and maybe it only goes to the shoulder looking up, so we want the head and face to join in if it's okay. So I'm allowing this top leg to pull back a little. I'm not keeping my knees glued together. That's really important to release the top leg, so we allow the lower spine some space as well. If it's okay, you can spiral out and allow the other arm along the floor, so you make a T shape, and the same thing to come back, but only go as far as is comfortable. So you can use your breath, opening the ribs really gently, only going as far as is comfortable. Perhaps it's just to the elbow. So we're also getting into the middle of the back between the shoulder blades. It's also massaging the side of the head where the gallbladder meridian is as well. So after 20, it comes up and over the head. So this is really gorgeous movement, very gentle. It's also getting into our gallbladder 30. Super. So if you want, I'm going to roll the other way, but you can roll onto your back using your feet and then onto the other side. I'll swing round so I'm still facing you. So same thing again. Super gentle. It's undoing the doing, that gorgeous Scaravelli quality. There you see. I feel my lower back's a bit dodgy this week, a bit temperamental. So I've actually found that this side, there's no way I can open my arm out to the floor. So I'm just going to stay here at the shoulder. So go to wherever feels comfortable for you, but really working with what feels right, really working with your breath, really making sure that we're not holding on to the neck and the head and the jaw. We're allowing free flow, smooth flow of ki and chi in the body. So that liver channel is our sprinkler system of chi. So we want a lovely garden that's getting sprinkled with water. This is the feeling that we want in our liver channel, a sprinkler system of chi. Super. So when we're coming back to the center, I know we've not done so much on this side, but if we gently come up to all fours, like we have most weeks actually, I find this movement on all fours really great and can connect with all the meridians in the body. Just depends the quality and intention that you have with the movement. So onto all fours, and this time, I think last week we had the toes tucked, if I can remember, maybe it was the other week before with the large intestine and lungs. This time we want the toes along the floor so we can connect that liver 3 into the ground. And we've got these lovely side channel parts, so gallbladder 30, liver 13 here, and the same into gallbladder 20. So let's try a circular movement with cat-cow. So maybe you want to try a breath out and breathing in, really, really gentle, and thinking about the sides of the body. So maybe, for me, I can feel my left side's a bit shorter, probably a bit held. So maybe it's finding the fact that this movement can help kind of equal out the sides of the body. And we don't need to go huge here. If you want a bit more of a pressing into the ground, like this lovely plant growing out of the ground, feel free to. Like I mentioned, I have a slight niggly back, so I'm not going to go for it too much this evening. I know my limits, more or less. So allowing the face to relax. So we've got this point, gallbladder 20, is allowing the weight pouring from the head and neck. The jaw can release. So if you felt blocked and stiff and tight when you took the left road earlier, we want to make sure we don't have any of that. We've got this sprinkler system of chi. Super. And then from here, if you're happy to, we're going to take head and tail. So I'm going to look round to my tail, drop down into cat, down to the other side, and then into cow. So circling. We did do this one last week to open up the fire element and the heart center, but this time we're thinking about the sides of the body. So really allowing each side to become more aligned. So taking your time. There's no rush with this one at all. And the circles can be tiny. We don't have to make huge movements, but allowing space in the ribs. Change direction. You've probably chosen the first way that's far more comfortable for you. This one I find a bit more like the rub the belly, pat the head. So taking your time, aligning the sides of the body. Releasing the gallbladder 30 and 20. And we've got the liver 3 plugged into the ground. And the liver 13's gently moving round in circles. The other joy of circles in the body is that it sends synovial fluid to the joints, which is really great for our wood element. It's kind of our body's natural WD-40. So coming back, sitting and just gently rotating the wrists. We're going to come back to all fours and connect all 4 points in one movement. I don't know, I was so excited when I realized this movement connects all 4 points that we're working with today. Obviously, go only as far as is comfortable, but see if you can feel the energetics of these points moving throughout the channels. So coming back to all fours again, and we've done this leg extension before with the toes on the ground still and pressing the foot away. But before we do that, I'd like to make a movement with the arm, opening up like a book, and then feeding this arm through to the other side. If this is quite sore on the lower back or the neck or shoulder, just allowing the hand to point through. So I'll show it the other way, opening up to the side, and then just allowing the hand to come through. So we're allowing this upper torso and into the gallbladder 30, a stretch. You can come down to the arm or even the shoulder if this is okay for you. And then pressing with this hand into the ground to come back up again. So like a spring or a plant, pushing through the ground. So let's connect that to the breath. So we're going to breathe in and breathe out. And as we breathe out, imagining our belly button gently kissing our spine. So we've got this nice strong core. And then we're going to breathe in again and allow one arm out to open to the side. We don't have to go huge. We can just go as far as is comfortable on the spine and the shoulder. Breathing in. And as we breathe out, feeding that arm through, watching the hand, and only going as far as is comfortable. So I'm going to stay here on this side, making sure the head and neck are relaxed as well. And then breathing in, opening the arm and placing it back down on the ground. Not forgetting our feet are nice and active in that liver channel on the front, so we are opening up the front of the ankles where the liver channel runs. So same thing, breathing in here, breathing out, connecting the belly button. It's kind of kissing the spine on the inside. And as we breathe in again, we're going to open up the right side, breathing out, feeding the arm through, and only going as far as is comfortable. So this side is much easier for me today. So I'm going to come down and rest here. And then on an out breath, undoing and pressing into that hand that's in the ground, opening up the arm again and back down to the ground. So let's do that once more on each side, and then we'll add some legs in there too. So we get all 4 channels. It's kind of like lighting up all the meridian down the side of the body. So we're going to breathe in, breathing out, belly button draws back and kisses the spine. We're going to breathe, breathing in, so that's breathing out, breathing in, opening the arm up to the side and the face can follow. Following with the hand, only going as far as is comfortable. You can place the other hand on the floor if that's all right, or the elbow. Breathing out, pushing the weight back in, breathing in and placing the hand back on the floor. Excuse me, I think I did get my breath out, but with my description, but taking your time, I think you know what I mean. So again, connecting the feet and opening the front of the ankle, breathing in, breathing out, connecting the belly button to have a nice strong core, so the hips are nice and stable as well. Great, we're going to breathe in and open to the right side, breathing in, breathing out, folding that hand through all the way to lovely side stretch, opening in the gallbladder, liver 3, we've got gallbladder 20 in the head, and then 1 on the foot, the liver 3. Super. And then pressing, undoing, opening out the side and planting the hand back. Great. So anytime you need to come back and rest the wrist, please do. Let's come back to all 4s and connect the legs, and then we're going to come up to standing from there. So similar thing we've done a few weeks ago where we drew the knee to the head like we do in our cat movement, the toes staying on the floor, and as we breathe in, we're going to allow the leg really nice and long. And I'm going to take the opposite arm. So I've got my left leg out. This one is super stable and the foot's planted in the ground, the top of the foot. If the ankle is sore, please tuck the toes under if that's too much of a pressure on the front of the ankle. So opposite arms then going to open up to the side. So opening out my right arm, I'm going to breathe out and I'm going to allow this arm to thread through. Woohoo! We've got the 4 points all connected. But I'm really using like Van der Scharaveli words or approach to this. I'm giving into gravity. I'm not holding my head up. I don't want to tense my jaw. I'm using breath and undoing the doing. So even though it looks like active, I feel quite comfortable on this side. And then again, pressing into the hand that is flat on the floor. We're going to press into it to undo, open the arm up and come back to all 4s. I'll demonstrate the other side. This one's a bit niggly for me, so I'm not going the whole way. So same thing here. We're going to breathe out. The knee comes towards the head. Breathing in, everything extends. Great. And then breathing out again here. We're going to breathe in. So I've got right leg, left arm opens to the side. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, we're going to drop and twist and get all those lovely points along that channel. This side, I'm not going to go down to the ground, but see where is comfortable for you and making sure the head and neck and the face is relaxed. Still got liver 3 really being worked in the foot as the toes are tucked under. Super. Breathing out, pressing into that arm, allowing this one to open up to the side again and then planting back down into all 4s. So let's try this a couple of times. Only go as far as it's comfortable. I'm going to stop talking so you can give it a go and see what you feel. Not forgetting to smile as well if you enjoy it. So this lovely feeling that we had when we looked to the right, down that road that we definitely wanted to go down. So if you want, we can go once more on each side, taking your time, using the flow of your breath. Brilliant. So letting that movement finish, coming back to all fours. And then from here, we're going to gently tuck the toes under and float the pelvis up into a downward dog, making sure the head and neck are released and not holding tension. And we can walk the feet, padding the feet in the ground. So that lovely liver 3 in our foot. And if you feel like it, you can gently press the top of the foot in, just with the weight of the leg, so I'm not jamming or forcing anything. So gently pressing the foot, softening the knees. The hands are spread in the ground. Brilliant. And then we can walk the feet underneath us into Uttanasana. Super. And then from here, what I'd like to do is imagine that we're wheeling. So circle motion, as if someone's got kind of like a crank, moving this circular motion in the hips. We're going to soften the knees, so we're cranking our way to standing. Hope that makes sense. I'll show it again. My sister has this lovely expression that it's the silverback movement, like a silverback gorilla, you know. It feels like they really use the power in the sides of their hips rather than pulling anywhere on the back. So it's wheeling, so softening the knees so the pelvis can come underneath, wheeling so we can come up rather than uncurling. So it's keeping the spine nice and long, either sides of the body super strong as well. Hope everyone's doing all right. I did want to show one movement if anybody really wanted to get a bit more of a stretch in the side. It's quite a strong one, but I'll just demonstrate. So maybe if you have a client or perhaps you would like to get a bit more of a side opening in the body. So if you're in all fours, obviously don't do it. I'm only going to do it on the side that's okay. So if anybody has a side opening that needs doing, that's great. Really good one to engage. So I'm going to come up into down dog. So the pelvis is floating up. My hands are nice and open in the ground. Shoulders are soft, head and neck soft too. What I'm going to do is lengthen, just like we did on all fours, lengthen my right leg away so it's in parallel. Now I'm going to gently turn it out, kind of like in ballet, and soften the knee so it's now bent. And allow the weight of the foot to pour the hip open and the ribs open in this position here. It's quite strong. And then unfolding that, lengthening the leg and coming back to down dog. What I'll do is I'll show it this way around so you can see a bit more what's happening. So floating the pelvis up, and then I'm going to lengthen the heel of the right leg away. My leg is long, same thing, I've got the baggy trousers on again. leg long. Soften the knee and turn the leg out and let that foot drop away towards the floor, so the side of the body is getting really nicely opened up in the pelvis and the ribs. And then uncurling that, releasing the foot back to the ground, and then walking your way in to come up to standing. Wheeling, wheeling, wheeling. So there we are. That's something a bit stronger on the sides. So actually, if somebody needs some movement going, kind of if something's stagnant and some heat needs shifting, I feel this one's really good to get in there. Just want to check the time, see how we're getting on. We've got 5-2. So I want to show the Makaho stretch in the liver and gallbladder. I had a lot I wanted to show you, but I think these points are really good. I did want to make a note, if you needed a bit more pressure on the gallbladder, if it's Jitsu, tennis balls are amazing. So you can come to lying on the back and placing one underneath on the gallbladder 30, and you can use the weight of your feet to really roll that ball around. Oh, I think mine definitely need a bit more pressure in there and releasing. So you can do both at the same time, or rolling onto one side and using the tennis ball in that gallbladder point. So that's also a really nice recommendation. Again, like Cliff said, maybe demonstrating and seeing how they get on to show you if they're happy with it. All right, without further ado, let's get to the Makaho of liver and gallbladder. Use a bolster if you need to sit up the pelvis. For this one, the traditional one is both legs are out in side position, but I like to do it with one bent in. So the foot is nicely engaged. And we're going to do it Scaravelli style. So I'm going to open up the side of the body. So I want the opposite arm as my leg. So I've got my right leg out and my left arm's going to come up. And it's the same thing, making sure the pelvis is nicely grounded. So we've got the opening in the gallbladder, super in the pelvis. So I'm just going to float my left arm up, spiraling up. I'm going to breathe in here. And I like to wrap my other arm round to the ribs, connecting to liver 3. And first I'm going to twist away from my foot that's extended. And then on an in breath, I can grow tall. So I'm going to grow up before going over. And then on an out breath, gently taking that weight. So I'm not aiming to get my head to my foot. I'm opening up the side of the body. It's a very strong stretch on the inner thigh where the liver channel runs. And then breathing out, come back to sitting, undo the twist, and then releasing the arm. So let's do that once more on this side, and then we'll go to the second one. So grounding the pelvis, allowing the sides of the body to nicely grow up like a tree. I'm going to float my left arm up to the sky, wrap my right arm around the ribs, breathing in, moving to the side, breathing out. And as I breathe in, I'm going to grow tall, breathing out, gently tilting over. I am engaging my head and neck with my vision facing upwards. So the gallbladder 20 is nice and open. You can keep your face forward if it's a bit too much on your neck. And we're going to come back up and arm twist. Lovely. So let's do the other side and then we'll wrap up. Oh, I can't believe the last one. So here we are. We're going to float. So I've got my left leg out. I'm going to float my right arm up into the sky, wrapping my left arm around my ribs. Breathing in. Breathing out. I'm going to twist first and then gently, gently tilt over. Going up before moving forward. and then undoing and coming back to the center and allowing the arm to float down. So let's just do that once more so we're nice and even. Gentle twist away from the foot that's extended, and then breathing out, really opening the side of the body. Super, and then undoing that and allowing the arm to float down. So taking your time to come out of this. I hope you're all doing all right and wasn't too many things all at the same time.
Oh, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed that. I was looking forward to that all day.
Yeah.
So it's time to finish up. Thank you so much, Kat, for this wonderful series. It's been really, really good fun, and I've learned so much.
I've enjoyed it very much, yes.
Brilliant. If you've not visited, I'm not going to run the poll, but if you haven't visited New Energy Work yet and seen all the amazing resources that Kat's put up for you, then really recommend you do that. She'll be finishing that off, and we're going to put all the notes together into kind of like into a booklet. Okay, so it's really worth visiting it. Kat's put loads of work into it. Thank you so much for doing that. That's really great. So it's like an ongoing resource. And thank you all members and donors for making this possible. We've got through another month at New Energy Work. We're literally like a lot of people working from one month to next, and you have made it possible for us to survive. And thanks to Kat's work, we had a lot of people sign up for this webinar series. And what's next? Well, we're putting together a Shiatsu summer school, the first time we've ever done it. And the theme is connection. We're going to do 9 Tuesday webinars starting on July the 6th, all through the summer. And we're going to spotlight all the members of the team. So Kat will be doing one of them.
Yes, there'll be a Meridian Yoga.
Yep, that's right. And then we were also in the process of inviting some of our favorite international teachers to help us complete the program. So watch out for your emails, and there'll be a registration coming very, very soon, registration for that. So yeah, look out for the Shiatsu Summer School, and that will get us through the summer, and then we'll have to think of something amazing for the autumn.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it. I can't believe it's the end. Oh,
Thank you, everyone.
I need to have a look at the chat and just see what's happening.
Yes, I'll give a big heart.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop sharing this.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just been so...
Apologies, I did run over slightly.
Yeah, we're just 2 minutes over. I hope that hasn't inconvenienced you at all. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Kat. And thank you, Dinah, for being on the chat. I see she's been really, really busy. And it's time to say bye for now. And we'll see you next time we put on another Meridian Yoga event.
Yes, thank you, Cliff.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.